Some people in our lives are dangerous, not in a physical sense, but in the quiet erosion of our peace, trust, and virtue. They take pleasure in causing harm, sowing confusion, or subtly undermining those around them. At first, these individuals can appear charming, likable, or even admirable. But appearances deceive. They are often masters of manipulation, hiding their true nature behind a carefully constructed mask. Stoicism teaches us that our peace of mind is paramount, that we must observe the world with clarity, and that our judgments should not be clouded by appearances or fleeting emotions. Recognizing the traits of an evil person is not about indulging in fear or paranoia. It is about cultivating discernment, maintaining our virtue, and protecting our inner life. Today, we will explore 5 key signs that someone in your life may harbor malevolent intentions or destructive behaviors. More importantly, we will examine these signs through the lens of Stoic philosophy, learning how to safeguard our minds, respond rationally, and maintain our integrity when faced with such individuals. 1. Charm and deceptive charisma. The first sign often goes unnoticed because it appeals to our desire to connect and to trust. Charm. Evil individuals frequently present themselves as charismatic, engaging, and affable. They can light up a room, draw attention effortlessly, and make those around them feel special. At first glance, it may seem they have an innate warmth, empathy, or insight. Yet the Stoics remind us that appearances can be deceiving. Marcus Aurelius wrote extensively on the need to see things as they are, not as they appear. To judge character, we must observe behavior over time, not be swayed by the brightness of someone's smile or the elegance of their words. A charming person may make you feel as though you have found a rare ally or confidant. They seem interested in your life, witty in conversation, and attentive to your feelings. But Stoicism teaches that virtue is revealed through consistent action, not superficial gestures. Observe the subtleties. Do they truly listen? Or are they simply waiting to speak? Do they acknowledge your achievements or subtly redirect attention back to themselves? When you notice that their interactions always center on them or that they seek to dominate social settings, you are witnessing a red flag. Stoics emphasize apatheia, remaining undisturbed by external impressions. By practicing emotional calm and rational observation, you can discern the difference between genuine virtue and a polished facade. A truly virtuous person does not require constant admiration. A person of deceptive charm will instinctively manipulate perception to gain influence. 2. Lack of empathy. The second sign is the absence of empathy. Empathy is not merely kindness. It is the ability to perceive and to feel the experiences of others. It allows us to connect, to support, and to act justly. The Stoics understood that we are social beings and that our well-being is linked to the well-being of others. Marcus Aurelius wrote that harm done to another is harm done to oneself, reflecting the interconnectedness of humanity. An evil person often shows no concern for the feelings, needs, or rights of others. They may mock vulnerability, ignore distress, or exploit emotional weaknesses. They fail to celebrate others' successes, and they may even feel resentment toward another's happiness. A lack of empathy is not always overt cruelty. It is often subtle, persistent, and corrosive. Consider how they respond when someone confides in them. Instead of offering comfort, they dismiss or belittle the experience. In a professional context, a manager who disregards the well-being of employees, overworking them, publicly shaming them, or ignoring their requests, demonstrates the same absence of empathy on a systemic level. Stoicism teaches us to remain observant and to protect our inner peace. By recognizing a lack of empathy, we can detach from the emotional influence of such individuals. Epictetus emphasized that we cannot control the actions or feelings of others, only our own responses. Observing the absence of empathy is not judgment for the sake of judgment. It is a necessary step in preserving our virtue and serenity. 3. Manipulation. Manipulation is the third sign, and perhaps one of the most insidious. Manipulation is the deliberate attempt to influence others for personal gain, often by obscuring reality, creating doubt, or inducing guilt. Evil people manipulate to maintain control, distort perception, and ensure that others act in accordance with their desires. Stoicism values clarity of thought and objective perception. When someone manipulates, they seek to cloud judgment and disrupt rational assessment. Gaslighting, a common form of manipulation, is particularly destructive. The manipulator denies facts, twists your words, and casts doubt on your memory or judgment. Over time, this can erode confidence, making you dependent on the manipulator's version of reality. Manipulation may also take subtler forms. A person might offer praise with hidden motives, showering compliments only when they require obedience or favor. They may isolate you from supportive friends or family, claiming that no one understands you as they do. Financial manipulation is another tactic, where dependence is created through control of resources. Stoicism teaches discernment and the recognition of what lies within our control. We cannot dictate the behavior of others, but we can maintain vigilance over our thoughts, decisions, and boundaries. Epictetus reminds us to examine what is truly ours, the mind, our judgments, and our virtue, and to act in accordance with them. By seeing manipulation clearly, we can respond rationally, maintain our autonomy, and avoid being drawn into harmful entanglement. 4. Controlling behavior. The fourth sign is controlling behavior. Unlike the subtleties of charm or manipulation, controlling behavior is often overt. Evil individuals seek to dominate decisions, monitor actions, and impose their will upon others. They may disguise their intentions as care or concern, but the underlying motive is power, not kindness. A controlling friend might insist on always choosing activities or dictating social interactions. A partner might demand constant updates, monitor communications, or assert influence over finances. In each case, autonomy is diminished. Stoicism holds that personal freedom and self-mastery are essential for virtue. No external pressure, threat, or coercion should compromise the independence of reason and judgment. Controlling behavior may extend to isolation, intimidation, or subtle threats. Those who try to dominate often attempt to instill fear or dependency, undermining confidence and making individuals reliant on them. The Stoics teach that courage and wisdom are shown in standing firm against external pressures. We cannot control the aggressor, but we can maintain our composure, reason, and adherence to virtue. When confronted with controlling individuals, the Stoic approach is clear. Recognize the intrusion on autonomy, set firm boundaries, and prioritize self-discipline. Autonomy is not just a practical necessity. It is a moral principle, a requirement for living a life aligned with virtue. By maintaining inner freedom, we resist domination and preserve integrity. 5. Pathological lying. The fifth and final sign is pathological lying. Lying is universal in human experience, but the evil person engages in constant, compulsive deception. These lies are not occasional or benign. They are deliberate, persistent, and often calculated to manipulate or harm. The Stoics valued truth above all. Marcus Aurelius emphasized that living according to nature means aligning actions with reason and reality. Pathological liars live in opposition to these principles. They fabricate events, distort facts, claim accomplishments they have not earned, and sow confusion. In doing so, they create a distorted environment where trust is impossible and perception becomes unreliable. Pathological lying manifests in subtle ways, exaggerating stories to impress, taking credit for others' work, or weaving half-truths into plausible narratives. Over time, these lies accumulate, eroding relationships and trust. The Stoic response is vigilance, discernment, and steadfast adherence to personal integrity. We cannot compel others to tell the truth, but we can remain truthful ourselves and guard our perception against distortion. Epictetus advises focusing only on what lies within our control, our own actions, judgments, and adherence to virtue. By maintaining integrity in the face of deceit, we prevent others' lies from undermining our peace. Detecting pathological lying requires observation, patience, and critical thinking. Recognize patterns, test inconsistencies, and trust reason over emotional reaction. Practical application. Boundaries and protection. Understanding these signs is not sufficient without action. Stoicism teaches that virtue involves both discernment and response. One of the most effective tools for maintaining integrity and peace is setting boundaries. Boundaries define what behavior we will accept and what we will not. They protect our mental, emotional, and physical well-being. Setting boundaries requires clarity. Communicate explicitly what is unacceptable and remain consistent in enforcement. If someone repeatedly belittles or manipulates you, clearly state the limits. I will not tolerate being spoken to disrespectfully. If this continues, I will distance myself. Such statements are not acts of anger or revenge. They are expressions of rational self-respect. Consistency is key. The Stoics value discipline and perseverance. Repeated enforcement of boundaries teaches others how to treat you and reinforces your own commitment to virtue. Resistance or pushback from others is inevitable, especially from manipulative or controlling individuals. Stoicism instructs us to remain calm, rational, and steadfast, understanding that challenges are tests of character, not threats to virtue. In some cases, boundaries require distancing from harmful individuals entirely. Stoicism teaches that our primary responsibility is to our own virtue and well-being. Choosing associations wisely is an ethical obligation. Avoid those who consistently undermine integrity, manipulate perception, or erode empathy. Supportive communities and trusted relationships are essential, as humans are social beings who thrive in mutual respect and understanding. Self-care reinforces boundaries. Stoics recognize that care for the self is necessary for the pursuit of virtue. Engage in practices that nurture physical, emotional, and mental health. Protect your time, energy, and focus. In doing so, you demonstrate that your peace and integrity are non-negotiable, and you model the Stoic ideal of living in accordance with reason and nature. Conclusion. Recognizing evil in others is not an invitation to anger, fear, or resentment. It is a path to clarity, self-mastery, and resilience. The 5 signs we have explored, charm and deceptive charisma, lack of empathy, manipulation, controlling behavior, and pathological lying, serve as markers for discernment. Stoicism teaches us that the true measure of a person is revealed through consistent action, not appearances. By observing behavior carefully, responding rationally, and maintaining our own virtue, we can navigate the complexities of human interaction with wisdom and composure. Setting boundaries, protecting autonomy, and preserving inner peace are acts of moral courage. Our value lies not in controlling others, but in living a life aligned with reason, integrity, and virtue. When you encounter those who seek to deceive, manipulate, or dominate, remember the Stoic principles. Observe clearly, judge rationally, respond with virtue, and protect your mind. Evil may exist in the world, but it cannot touch the individual who has cultivated reason, integrity, and inner tranquility. Live in accordance with these truths. Let discernment, courage, and self-respect guide your relationships. Protect your peace. Uphold virtue. Remain unshaken.